Okay, we're here at the 2009 Annual General Meetings for ABC Canada Literacy Foundation. We're joined by our board chair, Alan Middleton, who joins us today. And Alan, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
Alan, an illustrious career as board chair with ABC Canada since 2003. You joined the board in 2001. There obviously must have been several organizational accomplishments. Which ones are you most proud of?
Three things. One, getting our focus back on workplace literacy through magazines like CEO and also a number of initiatives that are going to be coming up in the very near future. Secondly, significantly strengthening the management team at ABC. It's not that it was ever bad, it was always good, but I think that right now in 2009, we probably got the best, most active, most talented management team we could have. And then thirdly, making sure, which any chair needs to do, that the management succession went well, with Margaret Eaton coming on board, but also working with the existing members of the board to make sure there's fresh blood brought in all the time, so we spread the news. So those are the good things. But there is a bad thing, and the bad thing is we're still here, and we're still needed. So I wish I could tell you that after 6 years, the need for us to focus on this very issue had gone away. It hasn't. We're still needed more than ever.
Very good. Alan, over 9 years with ABC Canada in the board role. Can you talk about what you first saw when you came on board with ABC Canada to what you see now?
ABC's gone through a couple of very traditional stages, you can tell I'm academic. In the early days, it's very much an enthusiastic group of volunteers who founded the organization long before I got involved. And it really then runs as a really small entrepreneurial kind of site. And when I came on board, it was exactly the point it had succeeded in. It created Family Literacy Day, it created Look for Learn, and a number of things like that. But we were moving into having to establish ourselves as a more professional organization. Not to lose the entrepreneurship, but to gain better traction as a professional organization, and really to take the leadership of literacy and communication and research about it to a much broader space than we had before. And so really when I say we're moving from good to great, it's moving from that entrepreneurial model to a more established but still pretty nimble model.
Absolutely. And we move from talking about the organization, Alan, to move about talking about the adult literacy cause. How can you assess sort of where it was and where it needs to go?
One of the frustrating things in one way when you look at adult literacy is the fact that the research indicates it hasn't moved. We have not improved. You know, we're still no means the worst on a global basis, you know, compared with countries like Italy, but we still have significant challenges. Part of the challenge, though, is always going to be with us, because it's not just base reading, conceptualization, and numeracy skills. It's that as a society evolves and changes over time, the demands for its workforce, the demands for its people go up. So the need for lifelong focus in literacy and skills like that will always be with us, and it just raises the bar. So we need to look at the people who have significant challenges at the bottom, but we also need to look at those who need to help their skills help to keep up throughout their lives and the evolution of a society and economy.
Yeah, very good. You talked about the destination for the cause, you talked about workplace. You've been a champion for workplace literacy. So why should employers take notice of this cause?
Any employee's got to pay attention to the overall levels of quality of literacy in the workplace. Whether it's a lower skill area, middle skill, or high skill area, it's important. It's important for a number of reasons. Number one, so that people can do the jobs they're asked to do in the most effective way. Second, so that they can be moved around to different jobs. The era when somebody joined to do one particular job in an organization and that was it for the rest of their lives has long gone. So they need the skills at a high level for the very flexibility that people need within the workplace. Thirdly, they need it for promotability. You know, the era that there were a few people at the top of organizations who decided what to do and lots of people to do what they told them, that's dead. That's a dead model. What we need is a bunch of people who have the skills to be able to contribute to the way things are done in a sensible way. And the fourth reason, frankly, is a social reason. The fourth reason is that in this society, if we don't keep increasing our skills and improving our skills at every level, we are going to lose out in global competition. Because there are other societies around the world who do regard this as important and who are doing a much better job at improving their workforce. And we will all lose economically and socially unless employers step up to that challenge with their own workforces.
Excellent. Just a couple more questions for you, Alan. We talked about your illustrious term as chair of the board for ABC Canada.
Couldn't get rid of me.
Incoming chair, Bob Miller, who served as vice chair. What are some words of advice you could give him as he steps into his new role as chair of ABC Canada?
Advice to Bob Miller is often best expressed as don't give advice to your successor. But I will do that anyway because I've known Bob for a long time. Number one, stay close to the cause. One of the things our current management team has done is to re-engage with the whole totality of the literacy cause. That's important because that's the only way we're going to get significant change. Second, make sure that your board keeps the liveliness but keeps its governance role. Big difference in not-for-profits was expressed when we were going through a reorganization of our board structure. And our head of the nominating committee, John Fitzpatrick, put it very well. Fitzgerald, get that one right. Make sure that although we follow good governance principles and not telling management what to do, we're an informal organization. Don't make it too formal. The value of what I think has been going on for the last 6 years is that everybody's been allowed to contribute and make their point. I think that's critical to keep going.
Terrific. Just our final question today, Alan. You have obviously such a very busy schedule, professionally, personally, abroad, traveling so much. How do you keep your literacy skills sharp? What do you do?
I'm not sure I do keep my literacy skills sharp. I'm lucky. By nature of my job, I have to read a lot, I have to do a lot of numbers, so I have to keep that up, that skill. Also, standing in front of a classroom keeps your skills fresh, because it doesn't mean using the same language as your class, but it does mean making sure that what you're saying communicates, which isn't just do they remember what you said, but can they use what you've said in their own critical faculties. The other advantage of traveling a lot and doing business as I do in China and India and Russia and the United Arab Emirates is to take a moment to think about how the other is viewing what is being said and what is being communicated. Great communication is not just about use of words and numbers, but it's about, because of your facility with that, thinking about how they might be seeing the situation, and in that way looking for common ground. So I think at the core of good negotiation skills are actually good literacy skills.